You are crouched inside a trench carved into the red earth of northern South Vietnam. It is September 1967. Beyond the demilitarized zone, North Vietnamese gun crews prepare another barrage. You hear the distant crack first. Then comes the terrible rushing sound overhead. A second later, the hill erupts. Sandbags burst apart. Wooden beams shake. Dirt falls from the roof as Marines press against the walls and wait. There is nowhere to run. This place is called Con Thien. Its name means the Hill of Angels. But for the young Marines defending it, this outpost has become hell on earth. Con Thien was not a towering mountain. It was a low rise near the DMZ, surrounded by fields, villages, and broken jungle, yet its position made it extremely valuable. From the hill, American forces could observe the approaches leading south from North Vietnam toward Cam Lo, Dong Ha, and the coastal plain. Con Thien also anchored the western edge of an area later known as Leatherneck Square. If captured, it could threaten nearby bases and open another route south. For the Marines, the mission was simple and difficult to survive. Hold the hill. Keep the enemy from breaking through. The North Vietnamese did not need to overrun every trench to make Con Thien unbearable. They could attack it from miles away. Artillery, rockets, and mortars came from concealed positions north of the Ben Hai River. The Marines often had only seconds of warning. A faint sound in the distance, a whistle growing louder. Then, an explosion threw men down. Shells tore through tents, collapsed trenches, cut lines, and ignited ammunition. Even the deepest bunkers could not guarantee safety. On July 7th, a heavy shell struck the command bunker of 1st Battalion, 9th Marines. It killed 11 Marines and wounded 18 more. At Con Thien, protection was always temporary. After every bombardment, the survivors climbed back into the open. They searched for the wounded and carried them toward aid stations. They dug through collapsed earth and pulled men from damaged bunkers. Then, they began rebuilding. New sandbags replaced those that had been shredded. Broken timbers were dragged away. Telephone wires were repaired. Trenches were reopened by hand. The work had to be done quickly before the next barrage. Many Marines were teenagers or barely in their 20s. They lived in mud, slept in short stretches, and learned to recognize incoming rounds by sound. Fear never disappeared. It simply became part of the routine. Night brought a different kind of terror. Flares drifted over the perimeter, casting pale light across the torn ground. Beyond the wire, Marine listening posts watched for movement. Rifle fire cracked in the darkness. Machine guns sometimes opened without warning. Every shadow appeared suspicious. Every sound could signal an attack. The Marines stood watch behind sandbags while artillery flashed on the horizon. Those off duty tried to sleep while the earth trembled. Leaving the bunker to carry ammunition, check a line, or bring food became dangerous. At Con Thien, there was no real rear area. The battlefield surrounded everyone on the hill. The struggle extended beyond the main perimeter. Marine patrols moved through fields, brush, and ruined villages, searching for enemy positions. Operations Hickory, Buffalo, Kingfisher, and Kentucky turned the region into one continuous battlefield. The North Vietnamese built reinforced bunkers and long trench systems close to the hill. Marines destroyed positions, only to return days later and find them rebuilt. Ambushes could begin at close range. Mortar fire could trap a unit in the open. Helicopters evacuating casualties became targets themselves. The ground seemed to belong only to whoever could hold it for the next few hours. By September, the pressure on Con Thien reached its most violent stage. Almost daily, enemy shells struck the outpost and nearby positions. On September 13, North Vietnamese troops attacked the northern perimeter under cover of mortars, artillery, and heavy machine gun fire. They reached the defensive wire but failed to break through. When the ground assault ended, the bombardment continued. For days, nearby Marine battalions endured repeated artillery and mortar attacks. The enemy sought to isolate Con Thien, destroy its defenses, and break the men inside. Instead, the Marines remained in position and prepared for whatever came next. From September 19 through September 27, more than 3,000 enemy mortar, rocket, and artillery rounds struck Con Thien. On September 25 alone, more than 1,200 shells fell on the position. The hill disappeared beneath smoke, dust, and flying earth. Bunkers collapsed. Trenches filled with debris. Corpsmen moved through the wreckage, treating wounded men wherever cover existed. Marines carried friends on stretchers, while more rounds landed nearby. The bombardment was meant to make defense impossible. But whenever the firing eased, the men returned to the damaged trenches. They repaired what they could. They counted the missing. And they waited for the guns to begin again. Keeping Con Thien alive required constant resupply. Helicopters carried ammunition, food, water, medical equipment, and replacements into an enemy-watched landing zone. Pilots approached through smoke and artillery fire. Some aircraft hovered just long enough to lower cargo. Others touched down while Marines rushed forward to unload supplies and place wounded men aboard. The sound of rotor blades could bring another barrage. Every landing placed crews, passengers, and Marines below in danger. Yet the flights continued. Con Thien did not survive through infantry courage alone. It survived because aviators, corpsmen, engineers, artillerymen, and communicators kept working under fire. Daily life on the hill became its own battle. Meals were eaten quickly, often inside wet and crowded bunkers. Uniforms remained stained with red mud. Letters from home were read beneath the sound of distant guns. A cigarette, a photograph, or a few quiet words between friends could provide a brief escape. Then another alarm would send everyone back toward the trenches. The photographs show exhausted faces, but they cannot reproduce the concussion of a shell, the ringing in a man's ears, or the silence afterward as Marines called out to discover who was still alive. American firepower answered the enemy guns. Marine artillery batteries fired across the DMZ. 7th Fleet warships offshore struck suspected North Vietnamese positions. Marine and Air Force aircraft attacked bunkers, gun sites, and supply routes. B-52 bombers struck north of the outpost. In late September, American artillery fired over 12,000 rounds, while Navy ships added over 6,000. The response was enormous. But survival still depended on earth, sandbags, and the men beside him. Firepower could punish the enemy. It could not make the Hill of Angels safe. By the end of September, the pressure began to ease. Con Thien remained in American hands. But the hill had been held at a terrible cost. Today, The guns are silent, yet the courage, sacrifice, and brotherhood shown there must never be forgotten.